everybody, and welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, Orange Zeppelin, and boy, howdy did Inktober not go well this year. October in general flew by super fast. I was doing a lot of stuff for both work here at the house, art commission stuff. Basically, a lot of stuff was going on. There's Halloween prep happening, so it's all good things. So I'm not super upset that Inktober crashed harder than the Hindenburg this year, but still kind of a bummer, because this was going to be my ninth year doing Inktober, and for most of those years I did every single day. I did some really cool pieces. There's some really good years I did. Last year was the only one where I had to tap out, and it was maybe in the last week or so. And I was hoping that this year would go better, but enough of that. Let me show you what I did actually get done. But first, I'm going to put a better picture of the prompt list in here. These are the notes that I was taking for the prompt list. I did the Spookydelic Drawing Challenge. I very rarely do the actual Inktober prompt list. A few times I have, and I always combine it with something else. I really like this prompt list, so it's definitely not the fault of the prompt list, because these are some cool prompts, and some of these are things I actually might revisit. There were quite a few things where it's like, I have an idea and I want to do it, but I just didn't have the time this year. Okay, so what did I get done? So first off, the first prompt was Spider, and we actually started out pretty damn strong. I liked how this turned out. I've got, you can see, black toned paper, and I started with, I think it's a white charcoal pencil that I did my sketch in, and then I used some white colored ink in a dip pen, and then this is all ink that I brushed on. Let's see, I used some of that white ink with a brush, but then I also used, oh, it's right over here. I used one of these brush pens, which I really, really like. And the next prompt was Fairy, which I drew a couple of characters that I want to do a lot more art of. Fergus is a character I've had for a long time, since I was in high school. And then Oirig is a more recent character. That is his fairy companion. And let me see if it might be kind of hard to show up on camera, but it's a shimmery ink. It's this right here, the Van Diemen's Swan Lake. Very shimmery light pink. I did quite a bit with shimmery inks in this Inktober. Well, I say quite a bit like I actually did a lot of Inktober. We'll beside the point there. I do kind of feel like Fergus's hand might have just been crushed under something. I don't think... Can hands do that? Give me a second here. That's painful. Okay, maybe his hand has been crushed under something. I actually worked that same shimmery ink into day 3, which was Rose. I did use some reference photos of roses that are in my yard that were blooming very beautifully at the beginning of the month. They're kind of coming to the end of the season, I think, but they were looking really nice for a while. I also used some animal bones that I have in my collection. I started trying to use this ink in a actual dip pen, and I found it wasn't really working well. I think the shimmer kind of clogs the nib, so it wasn't a really good choice for that, because once I used the black ink in the dip pen, it worked perfectly fine. And so with this ink, I ended up just brushing it on, and the pen behaved itself a lot more. I have a contentious relationship with dip pens. Sometimes they want to work, sometimes they just don't. I like the fountain pens where there's a cartridge, or I just use the little piston thing to draw up the ink, and then it behaves itself. With the constant dipping, kind of gets to be a headache. So day 4, which was not ink, was Eyeball, and this is painted in gouache. Let's see if I can get a good shot of that. My ring light might be causing a little bit of glare. I did sketch this one, just like with this piece here, I sketched with the white charcoal pencil, and then went in with gouache, and I think that looks pretty neat. As part of the reason I picked this particular drawing challenge is they just say drawing challenge, it's not even ink specific, and my original goal is I was going to do a lot more painting, a lot more just sketching, and kind of pick whatever media I felt like using. Because I do like using ink quite a bit, but I'm doing it so often that I feel like I don't necessarily need to practice for 30 days. Like I was saying, I was doing a lot of comic commission stuff. I was doing a lot of inking on comic pages, so it's like, okay, inking, that's what I've been doing already. So I wanted to shake things up and do more painting and sketching. Day 4 was Grim Reaper. This one is something I did pretty quickly, and I wish I can kind of see, I went in with a very thick marker to begin with, and I added a little more scratchy little lines, and I wish I did a little bit more of that. I do like the composition of this piece, but I feel like you can tell this one was getting a little rushed. And then, let's see, day 6 was aquatic, and so I drew a zombie, because that makes sense, zombies, aquatic. Mostly I just wanted an excuse to draw a zombie, and I was thinking that'd be kind of fun to take some inspiration from my surroundings. I work right next to the waterfront, and I see all sorts of weird, mysterious things stuck in the kelp. Shout out to my art homie, Rob Sachetto. He is the zombie master. Let's see, day 7 was pumpkin. This might be my favorite. It might be my favorite. There's some others that I really do like how they turned out, but I like how this turned out, and I do want to also share, I think Pumpkin Patch was the prompt on this one. This one was from last year, and this is one of my favorites from last year. But this is an example where just coming up with a spontaneous idea and working quickly actually turned out very well, because I didn't overthink it. I think this one, I used a yellow acrylic ink. I actually don't remember what this was. That might have been a Tombow marker now that I'm thinking about it. And then the background, pretty sure that was watercolor. And then I went in with just some white gel pen, some more of that brush pen. I like how this one turned out. That's one of my favorites. Next day was Moth, and I was definitely running out of time. This was just very quick. This is my mom's nightmare. My mom is a knitter, of course, and these are dreaded moths absconding with her yarn collection. This one, I think, just, you can tell it was done rushed. I don't know. I'm not that into it. What was our next day? Our next day was Sugar Skull, and we have some great cultural exchange here. This Klingon, because I'm on a Klingon drawing kick right now, he is absolutely delighted with the concept of sugar skulls and decorative skulls. I think Klingons would like this concept very much. You're adorning your homes with decorated skulls. Day 10 was Plague Doctor, and I am showing nothing because I skipped that day. I actually completely ran out of time and was like, I have to skip that day. It's not going to work out. And that's where everything kind of went to pieces. Now, day 11, I already had a plan for, and you already saw a little sneak preview of my boy, Screamin' Jay Hawkins. This was the last piece that I did for this challenge. And I actually combined 2 days, and that's something that was specifically mentioned in the Spookydelic Drawing Challenge rules, that you can combine prompts if you're running out of time. You can put like 5 things together. You could probably put all 31 prompts together in one giant piece if you're really creative. But I combined snake and potion together here and there. Let me see if I can actually show you. I once again used some shimmery inks here. Also the gold on his jacket, that's a shimmery ink. I like how this turned out. This was actually interesting to color because it is a combination of, I used this ink brush, and then I also used some alcohol marker. So there was like ink and alcohol markers used together. Some pieces recently I've been combining alcohol markers and watercolor. Actually, this piece I did right here, which is not Inktober. This was just me putzing around. This was a combination of, I think I started with watercolor and then I add alcohol marker on top, and then there's, what is that, like, did I put some colored pencil? What's going on here? I don't know. I just threw everything at it. Basically, this is what I do when you give me plenty of time to work and I'm just doing my own thing, compared to the moth thing where I'm running out of time and I'm kind of doing something out of obligation. I almost continued with day 13 and 14, because 13 was alien and 14 was armor, and both of those are like, yes, that'll be fun. And there's a lot of prompts on here. It's like, I totally have an idea. I'm gonna do something really cool. But I was like, I am so far behind at this point, and I needed to prioritize paid work and then pieces where I just have no deadline and I can fool around and draw Klingons. I'm gonna leave these right here because I like how they turned out. Actually, let's... Can I get all of these into the shot so you can see all of my favorites, all of my favorite things? Maybe we can keep these in frame. But what does this all mean for me in the future in terms of Inktober and other art challenges? Basically, I think I don't really have the time to do them. And I think practice is something I should be doing whenever I have any free time at all. When I'm really pressed for time, I start putting out worse art, and I don't really want to be posting anything that's just lackluster. Which obviously, if I think a piece sucks, I don't have to post it at all. I haven't been posting them on DeviantArt very much anymore. Like, last few years of Inktober, I haven't posted them on DeviantArt. I deleted a lot of the old ones that I did have posted, a lot of my old art in general, because I think what's more important for me to do right now when it comes to posting my art is I need to focus on posting like the best stuff, something that represents my skill level at its best, and not really be posting just to be posting. I think I might do Inktober challenges again, and I might even take this challenge and keep going at it, but in my own time, and not necessarily share it. I might just do it for my own practice. Honestly, my absolute least favorite part of Inktober is posting every day and going through the whole headache that is hashtagging. For a while, I would actually post everything in batches, because I'd take like 5 pieces and then I would scan them all and then I would post in a batch, because at some point I was just taking cell phone photos of everything, and they were terrible cell phone photos. It was an older phone, and the photos were not good. And so basically, I've got 31 days of me taking really crappy photos of not a super great drawing, which I've always been a staunch advocate of the idea. You can do Inktober and then just show nobody, and you still won. I would argue that you don't have to do every single day. It can be super spotty. You can skip a bunch of prompts, you can quit early. If you learn something, you're still a winner, and I'm hoping that applies to me, and that I've learned that I need to stop trying to do absolutely everything. If the lesson you take from this is you need to chill the hell out, I guess that counts as winning. But anyway, I just wanted to do my annual roundup and hopefully not whine too much about it. I apologize if I got a little whiny. I don't know, I feel like I'm not too whiny. I'm trying to think if there's any art media that just makes me bitch and moan. Probably really crappy oil pastels. There's gonna be some bitching and some moaning. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed seeing what I was able to make this year, and I will see you all in the next video.